behavior appropriate the other day with the protester? It looked like it was going to come to blows, sir.
Things are getting spicy today in the House of Commons. Welcome back to Moose and the Loose. My name's David, and today's top story, we've got Jagmeet Singh's pension. Pierre calls it out in the middle of question period, and the Liberals seem to be defending this. The Speaker defends it. They try to not get him to talk about it, and it becomes the talk of everything. And then Jagmeet has an interview here afterwards that I'll show you, where he talks not only about his pension, but his decision on whether he's going to support the government or not, if he's going to call for a vote of non-confidence. Let's jump into this. So first off, in question period here, Pierre Poilievre starts off by just blasting Jagmeet's pension.
The NDP leader was terrified he was going to lose a by-election in Winnipeg, a NDP stronghold. So he put out a Hollywood production where he claimed he had torn up the carbon tax coalition onto which he had signed up, that he was going to stop fighting for his pension and start fighting for the people. But once the votes were counted, he betrayed them again. He is a fake, a phony, and a fraud. How can anyone ever believe what this sellout NDP leader says in the future?
Uh-oh, he's muted it. They don't like to have too much supporting clapping going on. They better mute that. So they're going to chat a bit about this here. This is going to go on for a full minute and a half. Wow. So someone said something there, and we don't know what it is, but someone said something to Jagmeet, I think, about his pension. Wow, he's going to mute it again. So the running theme here is the Liberals, they will keep protecting this idea of Jagmeet's pension. You'll see here. And then not only that, the CBC is also jumping on board with the Liberals' plan here. So I'm going to fast forward here, but I've been sitting here for the last like 25, 30 seconds, and it's still muted. He's just standing here. So there must be a big uproar that he doesn't want the Canadian public to hear, which is why he's got it muted. So we're going on now a minute and a half being muted.
Colleagues, order. Colleagues, there are some long-standing traditions of this House which we should endeavor to respect. It is important that we ask questions in question period to make government accountable to the people of Canada.
Agree?
The questions, by their very nature, should be pointed, should be tough, should be specific, and the answers should also be clear.
Trudeau's never answered a question, ever.
My colleagues, for this to work, we also have to make sure that we work within the rules that we have. There were some important questions which were asked, but were not related to the administration of the government. And therefore, there weren't responses to that.
Wait a second, so Jagmeet's pension doesn't have anything to do with the government? It has everything to do with the government, because it changes his decision-making, and because of his position, that affects all Canadians. Of course it affects the government.
And it is important to make sure that we do that. We have so many other tools available to us as members to make the comments that we need to make outside of question period, to comment about how we want to do. Now, while the microphone was off, there were, I would suspect, although the chair didn't hear that, there might have been some strong words which were exchanged between members. I ask members to please remember that Canadians are looking at us. And let us conduct ourselves in a way really befitting of each of our constituencies and the country as a whole.
That's real rich coming from this guy who should have already got fired for what he's done.
So,
So he's really trying to sweep this pension thing under the rug. He won't even say the word pension. They don't want to talk about it. But it is the big elephant in the room here. The Bloc gets a question in there. They go back and forth. But then Jagmeet finally gets to speak.
The Honourable Member for Burnaby South.
Medicare, Liberals and Conservatives are tearing it down.
Liberals promised to help seniors in Quebec with the Aging Well at Home initiative.
He's not
But
talking about the
Quebecers
pension.
aren't getting anything because the Liberals and the Legault government are too busy fighting between themselves. Is the Prime Minister going to stop dragging his feet and finally deliver the assistance to Quebecers?
And the NDP leader has sold out workers by devaluing their paycheck by supporting Liberal inflationary deficits. He sold out seniors and families by hiking the carbon tax, driving up the cost of food and home heating. And he has sold out young Canadians who have given up on the dream of home ownership thanks to the doubling of housing costs. And what did he sell them out for? To protect his pension. Now Canadians have to suffer longer just so he can get paid. So why doesn't the Prime Minister just call a carbon tax election so Canadians can decide?
The Conservatives came locked and loaded here to drill down on that pension, as they should.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't think we should be politicizing pensions, but if the member opposite or his leader wants to talk about the size of their pensions, then they should talk about that, because at a time when they are getting millions of dollars or will be getting millions of dollars in government pensions, they also look to cut the pensions of everyday Canadians. Wow. Mr. Speaker, we are here to support seniors no matter where they work, not just parliamentarians with their pensions. Thank you, Mr.
So something to note there, what Karina Gould just said. She talked about the size of their pensions. They've launched a new strategy here to attack Pierre Poilievre on his pension. And I've got a clip here just to basically shows that she's probably made a call to CBC. Somebody has made a call to the CBC. They're working together on this. Just note her language, because it's very similar to what the CBC says.
Mr. Speaker, I don't think we should be politicizing pensions, but if the member opposite or his leader wants to talk about the size of their pensions, then they should talk about that.
Yeah, so jumping over to CBC now.
Conservatives brought all of this up. What are they saying about your reporting?
Well, since the story has aired this morning, they're not saying very much at all. Ashley and I were both outside of their caucus meeting this morning. We tried to ask dozens of MPs how they felt about some of the numbers in that story. Take a look at how that went. Is it fair to attack Jagmeet Singh on his pension when Pierre Poilievre's is $230 a year?
That's
What do you think?
if you're gonna.
Do you agree with that? Is $230,000 a year a lot of money? Pierre Poilievre's pension, how much should it be?
This is nasty. These paid off shills. Pierre Poilievre's pension, $230,000 a year or whatever. He's been in the government first off for like 20 years, so his pension grew a lot because of that. But regardless, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect his decision-making ability because he's already got a pension. Jagmeet doesn't have his pension, thus it is affecting his decisions, which is in his own best interest. CBC is just the most woke, paid-off propaganda arm of the government ever.
You're criticizing Jagmeet Singh, is that fair? What do you think? Ms. Linsman, is it fair to criticize Jagmeet Singh on his pension when Pierre Poilievre is set to make $230,000 a year? What do you think?
As this comment here says, lol, CBC ambush pensions are set according to years of service. Exactly. Poilievre has years of service, like 20 years of service. Singh, on the other hand, has not met the qualifying threshold of years to qualify unless he delays the election. So why is their story diverting from the facts of service in relation to the election? Selective story spinning. Exactly. This is just embarrassing once again by the CBC, just corrupt media, the corrupt broadcasting corporation. So now to bring in the man of the hour, Jagmeet, he is then asked about his pension as well as supporting Justin Trudeau, and he's made his decision whether he's going to vote to kick Trudeau out of power or not next week.
New Democrats came to Ottawa to get stuff done, to work for people, to fight for people, not to play Pierre Poilievre's conservative games. So we will not be supporting Pierre Poilievre's motion. His plan is to not only cut pharmacare, he wants to cut healthcare. He wants to cut pensions. He wants to cut dental care.
What does he want to cut? Was that pensions? Is that?
Our plan is to stop him and then to strengthen our healthcare system, strengthen pensions, make sure that dental care is there for.
Wait, what are we strengthening again? What was that word? Pensions?
Everyone who needs it. The decision moving forward is far too important for Canadians and for the middle class. And so that's why we're not going to let Pierre Poilievre tell us what to do.
Sellout
We're
Singh.
not going to listen to someone who wants to cut the things that people need.
Sellout.
Right now, Canadians need relief, not more cuts. We've got people's back.
So now Jagmeet's going to get absolutely grilled by these reporters. I'm glad there's some reporters with backbones there today.
Why didn't you say this yesterday? Why didn't you say this yesterday?
We are letting you know today.
Why didn't you say it yesterday? It's had more than 24 hours. Why did you wait for the block to say this first? Other than to maybe give yourself some political cover, why didn't you say it yesterday?
We're letting you know today.
But how can you say
Knuckles here is just going full thug life on them.
this when you've said Trudeau must go repeatedly? How do you square that?
In the next election, people have a choice. I stand by my words. Trudeau has let you down. Trudeau has let you down and does not deserve another choice.
Oh, man.
We are building a movement. We've shown that with 2 by-elections where we were the only federal party that had us, that was in the competition, that won one and was in the competition in the other. We were the only federal party competitive in the island of Montreal, on the island of Montreal, and in the suburbs of Winnipeg. So we are building a momentum. We're building a movement. We're showing people that we can stop conservative cuts.
You said yesterday that Mr. Trudeau does not deserve another chance. Are you not giving him another chance today?
Not at all. Canadians will have that decision to make when the election comes. And when that election comes, we want to make it very clear. I do not believe that Justin Trudeau deserves a second chance. He has let you down. He has let you down. And
Yet he's giving him a second chance. This guy's such a hypocrite.
It has meant that people are worse off. And if things are bad now, Pierre Poilievre is proposing a future that will be even worse. So we are here to stop conservative cuts, and I'm here to become the next prime minister of this country.
Say, how can you seriously say you were competitive in Montreal where you campaigned months ahead of everyone else and you lost by coming in 3rd place?
This was a very tight race, difference of 600 votes. We had the biggest growth of any other party. We are the only federal party, literally, that was competitive on the island of Montreal and in the suburbs of Winnipeg. No other party federally was competitive in both ridings. We're building momentum.
This guy's such a joke. Like, he's such a joke. Oh, we're competitive in this place and that place.
And we are building a movement because Canadians want an alternative. They feel let down by Justin Trudeau. I agree with that. That's why I'm saying he does not deserve another chance. And people don't want the cuts that Pierre Poilievre is proposing. Those cuts are going to hurt people. And that's why we're saying we are that alternative. We have shown that we can stop conservatives. We can beat them.
Behavior appropriate the other day with the protester. It looked like it was going to come to blows, sir.
I don't tolerate bullies. We've seen what's been happening on the Hill for the past couple of days. We got these guys that are intimidating staffers, yelling at women, harassing people. I've had people in my own caucus that were harassed and intimidated. And sometimes you got to stand up to a bully.
Stand up to a bully? You physically intimidated a man who heckled you because you're propping up the government, which is destroying Canadian lives. This guy is the worst sellout that this Canadian government has ever seen.
At some point in time, you're going to have to speak with the Prime Minister, and he will say, what things would you like for us to put in a budget or in legislation for your support? What are the key issues you want from the Liberals to continue to support them?
Well, to be very clear, we are not looking for any new deal, so there's no deal on the table. There's no deal that we're contemplating. We'll not be negotiating any sort of deal. We will be fighting to make sure that there's relief for Canadians. The things that we've said from the beginning we're looking for, we want to see relief when it comes to the cost of groceries. We want to see concrete measures to lower the price of groceries. One of those measures is a price cap. That's what I proposed.
How is the situation any different than the supply and confidence agreement then? You're saying bad things about the government, but you're still supporting them.
Not at all. We have a completely different
Not at all,
scenario where we
guys.
vote by vote.
Not at all.
You'll recall this is exactly the scenario Canadians have been in, or that governments have been in when there's minority governments. We're going to look at each vote, make a determination. It's very different from when we were in agreement.
If you're so convinced you're the alternative, why aren't you itching to get out there and prove it?
We've shown Canadians that we can build a movement. We've started that with our 2 by-election, great showings, strong presence in Montreal, and a victory.
This guy says he's building the movement now because he won a riding that they were already leading in before. They already won before.
In Winnipeg shows that we are the real alternative to fight back conservative cuts for people. We can do that. We're going to keep on building that momentum. But we're not going to play Pierre Poilievre's games. We're not here to play his games. We're not here to do what he wants. We're here to fight for Canadians. So we're going to continue to do that.
Have you spoken to the Liberal Party?
You or anyone from your office spoken to the Liberals since the supply and conference deal has been ripped up to discuss these issues that you want done in Parliament going forward?
No.
Will you consider voting non-confidence while pharmacare is still in the Senate? You said you're taking things vote by vote, but while pharmacare is in the Senate, will you seriously consider voting non-confidence?
Well, I laid out some of the concerns that I had, and I included the fact that the Conservatives are very much interested in stopping pharmacare. So they are absolutely timing this vote right while pharmacare is in the Senate. They also want to cut dental care. They also want to cut pensions. They also want to cut our healthcare system entirely. These are all the factors that I put forward to say, no, we're not going to play Pierre Poilievre's silly games. No, not at all.
What are your thoughts on the Bloc leader's demands that he outlined today on increasing old age security and also on supporting supply management? And he essentially said that he would vote against the government if they don't do those two things. Do you support those demands?
Supply management is something that we've long supported. We believe that it is a strong way to encourage an agriculture sector in Canada. It works very well, of course, for the dairy sector. We believe in it. We want to see more measures that support local farming. So that's something that we've long supported. And when it comes to, what was the first one again?
Pensions, the old age
pensions,
security.
Of course. Yeah, we ran on in our platform.
Of course, pensions. How could you forget about pensions, Jagmeet?
When we ran on increasing pensions so that seniors can live with dignity. Right now, seniors, if you're looking at OAS and GIS, the rough maximum that seniors can get from that is about $1,700. During the pandemic, we had established that people need at least $2,000 to get by. We ran on a campaign of increasing the amount that a senior receives to above $2,000 to give them some ability to live with dignity. We believe in that. We'll continue to fight for that. Pierre Poilievre wants to cut people's pensions. We want to strengthen.
No, he doesn't. He's never said he wants to cut pensions. I don't know why Jagmeet keeps spewing these lies. Even the cops here want to come and arrest him for for stating such things. Convenient timing. There you have it. Jagmeet Singh having massive support from the Liberals in the House about not talking about that pension. And on top of that, he's now stated he's going to support Trudeau. So then that means the Bloc no longer has that power. They were trying to squeeze Trudeau by the nads, and that's not going to work anymore. So I wonder if Trudeau's still going to go through with the deal with the Bloc. This is all getting very interesting, but once again, it's not good for Canadians. It's only good for these corrupt, greedy politicians. Gonna just have to keep pushing along here, you know, October 2025, unless they put us into WW3 and pull out some measures there to not have an election. That's when we're gonna have to just keep looking forward to. The question is now, is Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives gonna keep bringing up Jagmeet's pension, or will Fergus throw them out?